us welcome our county manager, Mr. Zeeland.
How y'all like my mask? It matches my suit, and I tell everybody I got it free. Because I didn't know it was going to come with the suit, and I paid for the suit, and it showed up with it. I'm not sure how free it was, but...
Red would go better.
Let me first say that I'm lucky to be here today. I had the annual NCACC, North Carolina Association of County Commissioners conference this weekend. Commissioner Belfield was there, Commissioner Davis, and Commissioner Arrington. But the day I got there, I parked along, I guess it was Water Street, and they've got these 8-inch granite curbs. And I just barely touched. I mean, it was early in the day, and I barely touched it, and it blew out a brand new tire. So I left it there till the next morning and called AAA. And then the next night, I go and meet an old friend from Duke that I hadn't seen in 41 years. And so we met at the Edward Teach Brewery. And I walk in, and there's 2 doors on each side. Do I need this?
Yes.
Okay. There's 2 doors on each side, regular doors, and then there's one of those big wooden sliding doors in the middle. And I walk right in at 6 o'clock on one of the side doors. And I walk in and bam! A 4x4, 12-foot piece of lumber hit me at the next on my head, and what it was it's the piece of wood they put in the door to keep it from being broken into. They laid it on the wall. So I'll be going to urgent care this afternoon after the meeting. I really thought about going this morning, but I haven't been yet. But I'm glad to be here.
Did they take care of your bar bill?
They did. They did. They sure did. Especially after I told them I was a lawyer. I would like to say, somebody mentioned my children being Agent 99. Maxwell smart. Okay. My 2 girls, one is at University of Michigan now, getting a double master's in public policy and regional and urban and regional planning. She's my Carolina girl, went to the School of Science and Math. My Duke girl, who spent the last 6 years in Lebanon and Doha, Qatar, and she went to Duke. She went to American University in Beirut. But she's going to the University of Pennsylvania and getting a master's in something I've never heard of, behavioral and decision sciences. That's one of the reasons I'm working until the second semester. But I do want to thank you all for having me here, and I'm sorry I haven't been coming as much. My email address, I have a Gmail account, but I set up a special one for my Rotary when I was president, which was Rotary Z. And for some reason, it got lost, because I always knew when the meetings were and that sort of thing, but after COVID, I hadn't kept up as much, and I apologize for not being here, but I do believe my dues have been being paid. So, I'm going to go down a couple things, a few things that the county is doing or has done that I know I'm proud of and the commissioners are very proud of. But I can't start without not talking about COVID. Clearly, COVID has been something public policy majors and political science majors and public administration majors, we don't do case studies in school on pandemics. Public health people might, I would hope, but it was new to us as county managers across the state and nation, and there were lessons learned. Once we got the vaccinations, we had that massive thing out at Central High School, and people waited in line for 6 or 7 hours, and we did do 900 people. The first day we had the vaccine, we were trying to get the most bang for our buck. Unfortunately, it was logistically a problem. We never did that again. On the equity side, it was 91% Caucasian and 9% African American, and that does not reflect our county. And so we then started trying to reach out throughout the community and have regular things, vaccination clinics at the health department, as well as some other places, Ebenezer Church in Rocky Mount, and other places. Tried to hit the southern end of the county, tried to hit the Hispanic community, but it hadn't been easy. For some reason, COVID-19 has become very polarizing. As a public official, which under a county manager you have public health, I don't have an opinion except to say, wear your mask and get vaccinated. That's my job. And so I know it's become a very controversial, especially the vaccinations, but I can tell you right now that had more people gotten vaccinated, right now I think 165 million in the United States, and we have 340 million. Of course, birth through 12 is not eligible yet, but most experts say that had more people been vaccinated, we would not be having this Delta variant so bad as it is. I can tell you just a couple statistics for our county. We've had almost 12,000 positive cases of COVID since the beginning, 200 deaths, including a member of this club. Last week we had 224 new positive cases. The week before, 111. The week before, 40. The week before, 20 some. And the week before, 6, I think it was. So this Delta variant is very serious. It is infecting people to a lesser degree and with less negative effects. People that have even been vaccinated. So, but really, the people that are dying are the people that have not been vaccinated. So even if you've been vaccinated and you catch COVID, chances are you're going to turn out all right. So my job is to urge you to get vaccinated. So please get vaccinated. Another matter that I've been involved in for the last 18 months is the national opioid settlement. Our association set up a 555 committee, which was 5 commissioners, 5 managers, and 5 attorneys. We negotiated with the AG's office the best deal in the United States. And what that deal that had been announced, and the final settlement was announced out of Ohio a couple weeks ago. Our state's going to get $800 million. Nash County's going to get $8 million over the next 18 years. That'll go towards treatment and other programs. It will benefit Coastal Hospital, through county appropriations, I hope. And I've been working on that, and it's a problem that hasn't gone away. And I guess with COVID, it hadn't gotten any better. And so I would just, hopefully, we got one problem though. The national settlement says that the attorneys out of 28 million will get billion. The attorneys will get 2.3 billion, and it says they must forego any of their contingency fees with counties and local jurisdictions. Well, we're not a litigating county. We're one of 24 counties that did not file a lawsuit. So we didn't hire local counsel or national counsel. And so national counsel, there was an order from the judge 2 weeks ago saying, in the original order, and he reiterated it 6 times in a 16-page letter saying that you waive all contingency fee contracts if you take part in the national settlement. $2.3 billion. Well, they're going around saying, oh, well, you still need to put some money in the state agreement for the attorneys. The problem is you got, I'm an attorney, but you got over 1,000 attorneys throughout the United States. But that should be, 2.3 billion, do the math, I think they'll be all right. They're intimidating some counties to not sign the memorandum of agreement that we negotiated with the AG's office. And again, it's one of the best agreements. We'll get up to 85% locally. The state will get 15%. In some states, 75% is going to the state. So I give credit to our attorneys that are on the committee and to our association. Next, I'll go to a subject that I think I've discussed with y'all before, and that is what I put on your desk. I can tell you that I came. You can tell when I came with the tax collection rate, but my first year it was 97.73, and it had been much less the year before. But for my 21 years. In my 3 counties, tax collection rate went up every single year. And this year, 99.16. Only 400, out of $55 million levy, only 450-some thousand was uncollected by June 30th. So we've got a system where if you don't pay, you start getting letters, and if you don't pay, then you get more letters, and they get more threatening. But people don't complain to the commissioners when they get a threatening letter if the reason is they haven't paid their taxes on time. So we've been very successful, as you can tell. The other thing is property taxes are enforceable. We can use the remedies available to counties for up to 10 years. And so our audit each year reflects how much taxes are still on the books for the last 10 years that haven't been collected. And you can see we've cut it in half over the last 8 years. So, our tax office under the leadership of Doris Sumner is doing a great job, and her staff, her tax collection staff, does a great job. I really can't say enough about them. Now, just for your information, our ad valorem taxes, which is taxes on property, including personal property, real property, and motor vehicles, represent 54% of our revenues. And our values in the county have been going up each of the last few years, and so we're going to have to do a 7-year revaluation under a new state law rather than an 8-year reval. And what happened was during the Great Recession, people had values from '09 in Nash County that were much higher than the actual value. Those '09 values were January 1, '09, and they were really '07 values, I hate to say. This time when we did reval in 17, it was up to December before the January 1. We checked those values. But so the General Assembly, in their infinite wisdom, passed a law to protect taxpayers and to require that if the ratio of your values and your current values was greater than 15%, meaning they were thinking if you had a 15% reduction in values, to protect the public, you would have to reval and get the values where they should be, like you're supposed to every 8 years. In our case, our sales ratio right now is less than 85%, which means values have gone up 15%. And the legislation says if it goes up or down, you must do a new reval. So we've gotten word from the state revenue department that we must do it a year early. So instead of 25 being the next January 1, 25, it'll be January 1, 24. Now that's not a terrible thing, but for you people that paid higher taxes those years during the Great Recession than the property was worth, you would hope you'd get a little relief for the next 8 years. But luckily it's only 1 year early, but we will be doing, for you real estate people, a reval a year early. Another thing is sales tax. When COVID hit, we thought, man, all these stores are closing, restaurants are closing, we're gonna have a tough time. It's counterintuitive, but our sales tax collections went up by 10% over pre-COVID. We've had our highest 2 or 3 months in the last year. And I guess it's Amazon and those places that did stay open, but a lot of mail order, people sitting at home and ordering stuff off the internet. So, our ad valorem taxes have gone up, our sales taxes have gone up, our motor vehicle taxes collections have gone up about 10%. And so we appreciate the $18 million that Congress sent us down to Nash County for ARP funds over the next 2 years that we have to spend in 4 years, and we will find ways to spend it. We're not going to send it back. We're hoping to expand broadband. We want to do phase 2 of the Northern Nash water system. And we're also looking at maybe some sewage projects in the southern part of the county. And there are many categories of funding that you can use that money for. And we are looking at various projects that we can fund. We got $9 million in May or June. We'll get $9 million next May or June. And we have a very comfortable fund balance. Probably 35% of our expenditures. So we are healthy. Financially, Nash County is in great shape. And how do we spend our money in Nash County? 25% goes to public safety, right about plus or minus 25%. 25% goes to human services, health, DSS, and 25% goes to education. That's the community college and the school system. Only 10% goes to administration. So when you hear about all the money being wasted at the Claude Odom building, not Claude Odom, Claude Mayo building. Claude Odom was the commissioner in Hertford County, excuse me. And, but that 10% that goes to general government includes the governing board, administration, my office, grants, human resources, finance, legal services, IT, tax office, facilities, registered deeds, and board of elections. So your dollars are well spent. There's not a lot of waste in your county, in your county expenditures. We run a tight ship, and the county commissioners run a tight ship. Every year I've been here, we've had a fund balance of at least 30%. I didn't do that. That's been here many, many years. And I inherited the best situation of my 3 counties. Coming in and having a fund balance like that and being able to maintain it has been a blessing. The one thing we've done recently, and I mentioned phase 2 of the Northern Nash water system, is we did do, for some reason this county is way behind in our water distribution system. Most counties throughout the eastern counties that I'm aware of have very mature water systems that are countywide. Our county did one in Central Nash a few years ago, and in the last few years, after years of planning, we have started on our Northern Nash water system. It's a $9 million project for phase 1. We got a $3 million grant, a $3 million zero interest loan, and a $3 million 1.9% loan. So that was through the state, and so we try whenever we can to get grants to fund things. We refinanced the Central Nash water system a few years ago. We had rates up to, a few months ago, we had rates up to 4%. That lasted for the next 35 years. We refinanced them at 2.2%, and they will all be paid in 20 years. So the old saying is, you're financing your grandchildren's future. Well, we're just financing our children's future at this point. We got the grandchildren out of the payback. But that's something the commissioners have done that will be good for our water system. Of course, we got a new school. We got a $10 million needs-based grant, and we had to borrow $10 million, and that will replace Cedar Grove, Swift Creek, and the old Red Oak School with a 800 or 900 student elementary school. We did the commissioners with the help of Mr. Winstead, who was pushing for this for years and years and years. I saw some document from 06 maybe, 04. One in 06, one in 07. But we were able to build a $2.6 million all-inclusive Miracle Park at Cooper's. We got $750,000 from Trillium, our mental health provider. We got a $500 Partive grant. $500,000 Partive grant, a $125,000 legislative grant that Senator Horner got a special appropriation for. We got about $256,000 from the Coopers Community Development Corporation, and that number keeps increasing from what I hear. And a $60,000 grant from the Major League Baseball. And we put in about $900,000, the county did, so $925,000. So on the economic development front, we have seen in the last 18 months 550 new building permits for houses. We have in the last 12 months approved over 1,200 over 1,200 new lots. So growth is coming. Clayton and Johnson County's full. And so Middlesex, Spring Hope, and Bailey, that area where you can jump on 264 or 64 and get to the triangle, we always, I know everybody in here has asked in the past, why hasn't that exploded yet? It's getting ready to. You'll see it in the next 5 to 10 years, more and more people. We are going to have an announcement tomorrow on CFE. Y'all probably know that was closed a while ago after about 7 years. And we will have an announcement, the governor will have an announcement tomorrow on a new business that will go there, provide 160 jobs. We've got a purchase agreement on the Shell Building number 6 that will, down in the Middlesex part, that will provide 75 jobs. We've got a letter of intent for 137 acres for a distribution center. A second distribution center we're in conversation with for $1 million, a million square foot building. And so we are very active right now in trying to get jobs and pursue economic development opportunities. One thing, when I got here, you had Matthews for the city that was retail development. But the county didn't have anybody, and Gateway, that we were a member of at the time, did not provide that. So we hired someone, Susan Phelps, to be our economic developer for retail. And her first assignment was get a Bojangles in Spring Hope. Well, they're building that Bojangles in Spring Hope now. Bojangles own the land, and so hopefully soon it will be completed. She's also told me today that I can say that, yes, it's already out on the street, that Cookout is coming to Nashville. And she's got several other projects on the drawing board, but I'm not at liberty to discuss them at this point. And I will touch briefly on my retirement. I know y'all read that I am retiring February 1. I have been in county government since '88, when I was first elected a county commissioner, except for 4 years that I went and worked for the state. Hope I never do that again. I have been in county government the last 21 years as a county manager, and I can tell you, I have not recommended a tax increase for the last 20 years. I did my first year. They say your first year is your honeymoon year. If you're ever going to be able to get your board to increase taxes, it's your first year. So I didn't know. It was my first job as a county manager. So I did do it. I made a mistake. But since that time, the last 20 years, I have not recommended, nor has the board, increased taxes. Now, I'm not George Bush, H.W., and I'm not going to say read my lips, because you never know. COVID could have been a lot different. In many states and many counties across the state, COVID did affect adversely, particularly big cities. So you can never say, I will never raise your taxes, but I think we all appreciate the fact that, particularly now in this county, we have a very healthy fund balance. We get a lot of grants. We've got the best grant writer in North Carolina, and that's Patsy McGee. She does a great job. I've just touched on the grants today. She's working on 3 or 4 or 5 grants all the time. So with that, yeah, I'll answer some questions.
See, could you explain briefly the difference in the participation of the county in the park program, Cooper's compared to the other municipalities?
Sure. The model, when the county started its recreation program in, I believe, '04 or '03, and did their first long-range plan, which is required to get part of money. The model that was set up was that municipalities would build parks and the county would operate them. That's what we do in Red Oak, that's what we do in Middlesex, Bailey, that's what we do in Spring Hope, and now with an agreement with Nashville, that's what we do, that's what they provided the buildings and the construction.
That's the Glover Field.
Glover Field, right. And the county then takes over all operation costs. That's been our model. Well, from the very beginning, there was a provision that we wanted to have a county-wide facility. And Trillium, when we joined Trillium, they spent $11-12 million in their counties trying to have constructed all-inclusive handicap accessible facilities. So we broke the model, broke the mold, and we built, with the assistance of Harold and Cardiff and Trillium and a lot of other people, a county-wide facility. So that's the difference. Used to, and still, if any town wants to build and wants us to operate it, we'll operate it. But we only have one county-wide facility that we were in charge of constructing.
Anybody else?
Press.
No. See, I know this is a sticky question, but where do we stand now with repairs on the jail? I know since 2014, the sheriff has been concerned about the state of the jail, and now y'all have, the commissioners have given permission for the jail to be upfitted.
Actually,
Where do we stand with that?
actually as late as March of 19, that we had correspondence from the sheriff saying the jail was in as good shape as it's ever been. So it hasn't been since he became sheriff that he's been telling us that we needed repairs. Now, how many of y'all supported his proposal for a 500-bed, $10 million brand new jail? I did. He went on your show and said he could build a 500-bed jail for $10 million, and we needed a new jail. Well, at that time, a 500-bed jail would cost you $65 to $70 million. Not sure where he got his numbers, but right now I believe it's cost 75 or 80 with the construction cost increase over the last few months. So when we told, a lot of people came to us and said, you need to do what the sheriff says he can build a new jail for $10 million for 500 beds. And then when we tell them that no, it's more like 65, 70 million, and we'd have to raise taxes 8 to 10 cents. I think everybody got on board then and decided we had just built the courthouse, built an underground tunnel. We have elevators between each courtroom. It goes down in a basement through a tunnel to the jail. So to abandon that facility would have been waste. Would have been absolutely wasteful. To build a new facility elsewhere would have cost $65, $70 million, and you're going to have to build some offices too, and you're going to have to build some infrastructure. So I think everybody got on board that we would do a jail addition. We're doing a 94-bed, high security, new addition. We're converting one of the dorms into single cells. And we believe with that addition, which we approved the contract last meeting and the financing last meeting, no, we awarded the contract today at 3 o'clock. We approved the financing the last meeting. So we will be making additions to the current jail, which is the most prudent thing that we could possibly do. So, I hope that answers your question.
See, how do our solar farms in our county compare to what's going on in other counties?
I think we all know that Nash County has been very pro-solar. We have probably 20 solar farms in our jurisdiction. The city has a few also. They have to contract with Duke, and Duke's got so many requests, they say, that it takes a long time to get the ball rolling. So we have to extend the permits, but we are very pro solar. I know there's the argument that you're destroying the family farms, but from a revenue perspective, as the county, even though there's an 80% discount for solar, we still get much more money from a solar farm than we get from land use value on agricultural property. That's not why they do it. I think we do it because we all know that our national grid is aging. We all know that the Russians or the Chinese or whoever have figured out ways to mess with us. And so the more we can upgrade our energy supply, including solar, even wind, I think we need to go in that direction.
I saw the new farmer's market was approved. Do you know when they're going to start construction on that piece back there?
Yeah, that actually is a national project. However, we just made our farmer's market manager full-time from half-time. And one of her tasks is to work with Nashville one day a week, 8 hours a week, or more if necessary, but we think 8 hours will do it. And they're talking about, we have ours on Tuesday afternoon and Saturday morning. And our farmers market did better this year than it's ever done. It had a great year. It continues to have a great year. But they're planning to be open, I think, on Friday and maybe Saturday afternoon after we close. So I guess Maureen will have to take off Mondays. It sounds like she's going to be working all day on Saturday. But I don't know the timetable for that, but it's good to have something in the middle of the county, in the county seat. It'll be a good addition.
I have a hard one for you. Since our country seems to have an open border policy and illegals are being shipped all over the United States, how has that affected our county?
That issue is really not a county issue. It rarely, when we have a COVID outbreak in a migrant camp, it perhaps becomes an issue. But I think our Hispanic population is increasing, if you look at the latest census figures. But that's more of a national and border state issue than a North Carolina county issue.
So we haven't seen any illegals come in here and we've had to take care of them.
Where we're situated, I don't believe we have been as affected as many other states, many other counties throughout the United States. Even in North Carolina, there's some counties that have seen a high Hispanic population increase. Chatham, Montgomery, Anson, that area, and I'm sure down in the southeastern agricultural counties. But it's not something that I have to put out many fires on, and that's basically what my job is to put out fires.
I could just add on to Bill's question real quick. With the drugs that they bring across the border too, and those people are lost antibodies, fentanyl, those kind of things are very dangerous drugs. Has that caused any problems for our healthcare systems here with people coming with those kind of problems, overdose of drugs?
So you're saying drugs that come in through the southern border?
Just nobody stops them, right on in.
Yeah, I believe that has been an issue for many years. I think that is still
Not like it is now.
it's still a pipeline throughout the United States from the southern border, but that's an issue that it's very important to me. That's why I served on the 555 committee, even though I wasn't a litigating county. I was put on there, and so anything we can do to stop the drug flow, I think we're all in favor of.
Thank you. Thank you so much. If y'all will join me in saying thank you to Mr. Lamb. This is our gift to you. This is our 4-way test. You've heard that a time or two, I'm sure, so take that with you. We appreciate you coming today.
Did we do it today?
We're getting ready to. Pam Gould is going to lead us in our 4-way test right now.